Coming up on West Dakota Fox News at 9. Culling the herd without killing the herd. We'll explain how rangers are controlling the bison population and benefiting people around the state. Plus, a lifeline for homeless people in Bismarck is shutting the door right before first snowfall. But first, Tax Commissioner Ryan Rauschenberger breaking his silence about his DUI.
North Dakota's first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Molly Martinez. State Tax Commissioner Ryan Rauschenberger says he will not resign following his arrest for DUI, at least for now. Reporter Bo Evans spoke with Rauschenberger a few hours ago. Bo?
Rauschenberger spoke to me for about 25 minutes about his struggle with alcohol. He says he became lax with his treatment and is remorseful for his actions.
I do want to apologize to everybody that this happened, and I want everybody to know that I feel good. I'm seeking additional treatment.
Rauschenberger was arrested for DUI on September 30th. The tax commissioner has admitted to struggling with addiction and has sought treatment. Rauschenberger says he thought he was doing well and had a handle on his addiction. Then he stopped being diligent with his treatment.
When you're in treatment and you have an addiction, you need to keep going to continued care. You need to keep going to your counselor. You can't let up on that, because that's when you slip up and things go sideways.
He says he contacted the governor almost immediately and hasn't been asked to resign. In the short term, he will use his job as an avenue to improve his health.
As far as continued treatment, I do not plan on taking any kind of leave of absence or time away from work. I look forward to continuing my service in the tax department.
Rauschenberger says he is considering all options and will make a decision about his future in the coming weeks. Rauschenberger has a previous incident involving alcohol. He lent his car to a person he met in treatment who crashed it while driving under the influence.
Meantime, Governor Doug Burgum announced today he's appointing Lise Cruz to lead the Department of Financial Institutions. The department oversees North Dakota's state-chartered banks, credit unions, and other financial companies. Cruz has served as chief examiner of banks in the state since 2011. Well, as the nights get colder in town, access to shelters become a lifeline for homeless people. But on Friday, Bismarck closed the doors to one of those shelters. Reporter Maddie Jelseth explains why.
The men's emergency shelter, previously owned by the Ruth Myers Hospitality House, will be shutting its doors. Ruth Myers recently sold the building to the Heartview Foundation in Bismarck.
We've got things we have to do in the building as part of any sale of any property.
The men at the shelter will have to make other arrangements on where they'll be staying.
Right now, the community doesn't have anything in place. You need to make plans. You cannot be on the streets in the wintertime. You need to relocate. You need to reach out to friends, family. You guys need to make plans. Go to work, get a job, do something, reach out for the services that you need.
The Homeless Coalition says someone has already stepped up to run the shelter. All that's needed now is the funding to keep it open.
We would need the funding in order to lease the building back from Heartview. Heartview has graciously agreed to lease it back to us for the next 5 to 6 months if need be.
There'll be a fundraiser this Thursday at Buffalo Commons Brewing Company in Mandan to raise money to help lease the building this winter. For West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Eddie Jelseth.
The closure of this shelter leaves several dozen men scrambling to find a roof before first snowfall. Reporter Daniela Hurtado spoke to law enforcement who say the solution lies within the community.
This is not a good state to be unsheltered in because of the harsh winters.
Many will have to say goodbye to their temporary home this week as the homeless men's shelter closes its doors for good.
Don't have a place to stay, at night. In daytime, we're looking for jobs. So, at night, it kind of takes away the advantage of having a place to sleep at night.
The Bismarck Police Department says finding options for this problem is a community effort.
It's definitely going to be a challenge to find, a solution to this, and we're working with other partners trying to come up with the bits and pieces to, find out a solution to this.
The men affected by this say they're trying to figure out their next steps.
I honestly take it as they don't care. The fact that they're selling it and kicking us all out in a matter, they've been talking about it for months, yes, I understand. But the fact that when they finally do decide to do it, they just kick us out without any rhyme or reason, just, hey, leave, it's sold. We don't want you here anymore.
BPD recommends to find friends or family in the area to stay warm. For West Dakota Fox News at 9, I'm Daniela Hurtado.
Homeless men like Cohen hope the Bismarck Homeless Shelter Coalition is able to raise enough funds to lease the shelter for the winter so that they can have a place to stay. Time now for a check on weather with meteorologist Henry Blakes.
Hey, thanks. Coming up in a bit.
Thank you very much, Henry.
You're welcome.
As you said, temperatures are falling, and so are the leaves. This week, Bismarck street sweepers are busy clearing the roads. 4 trucks cover about 20 blocks a day. On windy days like today, they have to go over the streets a few times. Workers say that if there are leaves on the ground during winter, they can clog the chutes of snow blowers.
The never-ending circle, you know, with these areas downtown here with all the trees, you know, we keep going through over and over and over again.
Wetzel says the trucks have been gathering 40 to 60 tons of leaves each day. Well, rolling down the streets of Mandan today, the possible future of the automotive industry. We're talking about self-driving cars. Reporter Andrew Horn got to ride in a semi-autonomous vehicle and shows us some of that technology. We reached out to State Farm asking about insurance concerns. They provide a statement saying, quote, "We play an active role in collaborative multi-industry conversations and research that focus on reducing crashes through technology, identifying new risks that technology may bring, and seeking opportunities to provide value to State Farm and our customers." We also reached out to the Highway Patrol about how it plans to enforce traffic laws with this technology, but we have yet to receive a response. Well, this week kicks off the North Dakota School Board's 50th annual convention in Bismarck. The event runs Thursday and Friday. According to the school board's executive director, more than 625 board members, administrators, and guests will participate. Attendees will learn about innovative education, medical marijuana, and school finance. The event will be held at the Ramkota. And the number of Americans who have no medical insurance is on the rise again. That's according to a new poll by Gallup and ShareCare Wellbeing Index. The number of uninsured Americans has been dropping under the Affordable Care Act. In fact, the number hit a record low under Obamacare. But the number is on the rise again, hitting 12.3% in the third quarter of this year. Fortunately, we're still below the record high number of 18% we hit in 2013. And the case against the man charged with opening fire inside a Tennessee church will be going to a grand jury. The decision comes after a hearing earlier today. 25-year-old Emmanuel Sampson is charged with the death of 39-year-old Melanie Crow, an attempted murder for the people he injured on September 24th. Today, 2 witnesses took the stand. And we're learning that the Dakota Access Pipeline protest will be memorialized in Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian's Institute National Museum of the American Indian is adding a nearly 12-foot tall mile marker created by activists. The post was constructed by protesters to show how far they have traveled. It goes on display tomorrow and will remain on exhibit through 2021. Well, there are fewer bison at Teddy Roosevelt National Park today due to a population control exercise. But cull doesn't mean kill. The rangers took a humane approach to thinning out the herd. They say of the 500 animals in the North Unit, 144 were removed. Those buffalo will be transported to the neighboring Indian tribes. Rangers say it's a necessary procedure since the animals don't have any natural predators.
The object is to keep the population at a level so that there is not resource damage. We don't want to get to the point where animals are overgrazing or anything like that, because when you get to that point, it's too late.
Park biologists say every year they alternate this process between the North and South Unit to control the population. Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go. French President Emmanuel Macron's dog Nemo took that to heart during a meeting yesterday. Macron was meeting with members of his government when the 2-year-old dog began urinating against a fireplace in the Élysée Palace. Video shows Macron and his attendees speaking, only to be interrupted by Nemo noisily relieving himself on the side. Macron was quick to point out the pooch's bathroom break, saying the dog was doing something exceptional, with the room erupting in laughter. Nemo was adopted by Macron and his wife Brigitte back in August.